Welcome to this latest Wetfish film. We are diving Swanage Pier with thanks to the Isle of Purbeck Tobacco Club and the Swanage Pier Trust. My buddy is Les Sullivan and a long-time friend. If you're a diver and you've not dived Swanage Pier, you are really missing out. It's one of the UK's, if not the UK's, most diverse habitat, and in less than 5 metres of water, even at high tide, which means you have plenty of time to study the life, take photos or make films. There is a great cafe and possibly the oldest dive shop and dive centre in the UK, Divers Down. What more could you want or wish for? Welcome along. One of the advantages I have with diving with Les, he said to me many years ago, when we're together underwater, I'll always be on your left. And whenever I look left, he's generally there. It's only if I get distracted and swim off that I seem to ever lose him. And even then, he's never far away. The reason that Swanage Pier is such a great place is its habitat diversity. On the flat, sand, rocks, seagrass and a centuries amount of debris from the various repairs that have been done over the ages, attracting a broad range of animals and plants. At the end where the pier is broad and the boats come in, the result is a dark area like a night dive, with a totally different set of plants and animals. On the vertical, the piles, this attracts animals and filter feeders that would live on rock faces. And lastly, but not least, the broad range of temperature through the year. Not much below 10 degrees ever in winter these days, and in summer 20 plus. Added to this tides twice a day, moving massive quantities of water and thus food through the pier. All this activity attracts a huge amount of life and thus a wide spectrum of predators. Don't think for 1 minute this anemone is not a major predator. Should you be a small fry like plankton or a fish and you touch these tentacles, they're sticky and the next second you're inside the anemone's stomach. Now where is my buddy Les? Oh yes, he's there, look, I can just see his bubbles in the distance on the other side of the log. There he is. See, I told you he'd be on my left. And here we see on the underside of a discarded pier leg numerous amounts of sponges all along the underside. Truly incredible and very colourful. As you can see here, Les takes the opportunity of photographing me filming the life on the underside of the old pier leg, now left on the seabed. It may seem strange leaving all this, effectively builder's waste, but the result is a whole new habitat, and more importantly, it's pretty much non-toxic because it's a natural product, so it's great to be left in place and increase the life around the pier. As you can witness here, the pier is a nursery for all kinds of small fish. Most divers won't even notice these fish. When you've been diving years like me and have a wider interest in wildlife, life like this just comes into view. Personally, I just love it. It shows why we should protect these wild areas and places such as Swanage Pier. It's great to see other members of IPSA enjoying the pier and just passing us by, quietly looking at the things that interest them too. It's always great to see a diver with their matching gear on, yellow fins, tank, etc. It just looks amazing. You may notice that every square millimetre of this old pier leg is now growing life. This provides homes for all those small animals and invertebrates. At the time it was abandoned, its driver would have been cost of removal. Now it's home to hundreds, if not thousands, of plants and animals. As you can see, every nook and cranny is just crowded out with life, sponges, seaweed of various sorts. It just is amazing. Just sit back and wonder at the spectacular view underneath the pier that if you walk on the boards above, you will rarely ever see. And on one of the pier legs, sponges abound. Who would have ever thought that here in the UK we would ever have life that looks as colourful and wonderful as this in our seas? How lucky are we? We are now on the pier at the end where it's at its broadest and deepest. Here it's like diving in the twilight, in the centre a night dive, hence the sponges and less seaweed. I consider myself to be one of the luckiest divers in the world. I met Les by accident, an advert placed into the Sub-Aqua Scene, a long since extinct dive magazine. He replied, and here we are enjoying diving together 40 or so years later on. I mentioned a very varied habitat, and here we are, a big sandy patch underneath the pier as we're returning back towards the shore. Here, a mature velvet swimming crab hiding away in a nice crack. You can see the fans on either side of its face going 10 to the dozen. They have to keep water moving over their gills to stay alive and oxygenated. Halfway through the dive and now heading back down the pier, you never quite know what you're going to come across. Sometimes I can't help but look closely, just for my own pleasure, and here is exactly what I am doing. Here we see Pete Lightowler, one of the many IBSAC photographers. I think he's wondering, am I filming him? After a short while, he ignores me and carries on with the life that's caught his attention. I'm just having my own little moment where I'm living in a world all of my own. I just couldn't help myself. I so rarely see a lobster these days, and here we have an absolute beauty. He comes out to say hello. Sometimes I believe you should just be left to watch and enjoy the scene. Time to switch off the lights and close down the close-up camera. We're returning back to the shore. Often in diving, the exit is the most difficult part and the most involved. It's tiring and exhausting, especially when it's hot, as it is today. This was Wet Fish Film Odyssey diving Swanage Pier, Swanage, Dorset, United Kingdom, with thanks to the Isle of Purbeck Sub-Aqua Club and Swanage Pier Trust for this exceptional dive. Music by Dan Hennig and Far Cry. I'm Tony Howells, filmmaker, and I hope you've enjoyed watching this film as much as I did diving and making it.